So a question I've been getting quite a bit lately, and it really is no surprise at all, is just super reviews. Super reviews. Where's your super reviews? When are you going to do another super review? Are you ever going to do super reviews? And, I don't know. I've kind of sort of possibly dropped the show. Okay, so what had happened was I was watching the Universe Survival arc. I was going to watch like the exhibition matches, and I was going to talk about those once they were done, and it ended up being like 4 episodes instead of 3 episodes. So I was waiting for the Topo fight, and by the time like the Topo fight rolled around, I just didn't watch it. I didn't watch it, and then like the newest episode rolled around, and I didn't watch that, and I've had no incentive to watch it. I don't care. And, like, I really don't even have, like, an incentive to really even make a review, honestly, because, well, one, I feel like I've made so many of these now that, like, you know, like, I'm fairly consistent across the board with all of these. So I feel like, you know, if you've seen enough of these, you should kind of know where my stances are going to lie, at least a rough idea. So at that point, you're just wanting to hear me specifically state, you know, I guess, you know, confirm what your thoughts of what my thoughts are. But, yeah, honestly, though, with these episodes, like, people seem to be, like, really, really into the idea of, yeah, talk about, like, you know, like, these episodes, I want to hear your opinion on them, and I'm like, Like, yeah, that's the thing, like, people keep telling me, like, oh, man, like, you know, Dragon Ball's getting better, it's Super's getting better, blah, 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 these episodes are, like, so much better than the previous ones, and I mean, it's more consistent, but honestly, I'm just kind of bored. I mean, yeah, I like I said, it is more consistent, like the quality has evened out, but now it's just kind of not interesting to talk about, because, you know, when Super was garbage, I could just unload. Like, it was cathartic. Like, people always like, oh, man, you always bitch about, you're always so miserable about when talking about Super. It's like, I'm not miserable when I bitch about Super. I have a grand old time fucking bitching about Super. It's fun to me. Like, you know, it's like, it's the same reason people bitch about anything on the goddamn internet. It's catharsis. Like, you know, you see something, you don't like it, and you're like, oh, God, that sucked. And you just kind of, like, unload on the internet. And, like, it's actually fun to do. Like, I have a good time kind of shitting on Super, you know, because it makes those shitty episodes entertaining, you know, and I really get to go, like, in depth about why I specifically think these episodes are bad. Then on the flip side, though, when an episode is really, really good, I have, you know, I have, like, the opposite effect, where, like, I'm really excited, because, like, oh, man, this was a really good episode of Super, and let me break down specifically why, like, this episode works for me so well. And especially, you know, when it stands in contrast to another episode that did something similar, and, like, you know, I trashed on that one, but I would praise another one. I could be like, well, specifically, like, you know, like yeah, I could talk about the pace, the structure, the atmosphere, how the characters were utilized, and, like, all of these different elements I can talk about, and it gets me excited. And here, like, you know, like, those first 3 fights, you know, like I said, I've only watched 3 out of the 5 new episodes of Super, but out of them, like, they're fine. They're fine. But I don't have a whole lot to say. I mean, you know, like the Majin Buu fight was probably the best of those 3 episodes. Actually, I'm going to say, yeah, it was the best of those 3 episodes. And it was a good, solid fight. It was well-paced. It was well-structured. There wasn't really much to it other than that. It was a good, rock-solid episode with really good, rock-solid animation from Naoki Tate. And then you had, like, the next episode with Gohan. I thought that was a really good Gohan-centric episode. I liked the fact that fight was more strategic. I didn't really understand the whole him going Super Saiyan thing, or the fact that he was drawn like Ultimate Gohan, but whatever. But, like, once again, like, you know, not quite as good as the Majin Buu episode, but it was a well-structured fight. And then, like, the Goku fight was not so well-structured. It was just kind of You know, like, I felt like the fight was just there to get it out of the way, and then, you know, it's like, here's the tournament, here's all the rules, and, like, it's like, okay, like, it's a battle royale. That's not quite as interesting as I feel like a normal formatted tournament, but then again, Dragon Ball's never done a battle royale, but when you have, like, an 80-man battle royale, that isn't as interesting. Um, but yeah, like I said, they're three rock solid episodes of varying quality of okay, and when they're like that, I don't have a whole lot to say. There isn't anything interesting to say. Like I said, like, when Super's bad, I can just really get into why it was bad. When Super's really good, I can just really get into why Super is so good. When it's just this middle of the road, you can always tell whenever I'm talking about a middle of the road episode because I'm not as energetic. I like, and that happened to me a lot in the Future Trunks arc because there was some really strong episodes, there was some really terrible episodes, and then there was a lot of okay. And I feel like all those okay episodes, those didn't make for as good of reviews because I just didn't have anything meaningful to say during those. And honestly, like, even with like the slice of life episodes, I mean, there's only so many times I can say, oh yeah, like, this is a really cute, endearing episode with really good character moments, like, before it really gets stale. And like, that's kind of, or I guess, in the case of like that one episode with trying to wish Kyle back to life, it's like, there's only so many times, like, that was just like, yeah, it was just a bland episode. It was a bland episode, it wasn't funny. What else do you want me to say? And I feel like a lot of times I'm just kind of artificially stretching these out almost, to make them more like analytical and deconstructive and really kind of get into the specifics. But like, I just kind of sometimes feel like there aren't specifics. Like, so I know, but sometimes with like a 5-minute Super review, and I just don't think that's worth watching, But yeah, so that's kind of like how I feel about Super right now. Am I ever going to go back to it? I'm sure I will. Do I have any incentive or like a drive to go and see it right now? No. I feel like there are better shows I could be watching. And, like I said, Super is, it's fine right now. It is perfectly fine. I don't really have issues with it. But I just also don't really have a whole lot to say. And until I have things to say, like, until like a really good episode comes along or a really bad episode comes along, I'm kind of without really any strong opinion. And without a strong opinion, I really don't feel a need to make a video. Like, talking about middle of the road stuff just isn't interesting. And right now, this arc is just so middle of the road. Like, it is, like I said, I'm sure it'll get more interesting. And when it does, I'll probably check it out, and people are like, oh man, like, Bra was just born, like, you need to talk about that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure it was a cute slice of life episode, and they were establishing some stuff for the tournament. Like, I mean, sorry guys. Am I still going to talk about Dragon Ball? Of course, I'm always going to have things to talk about Dragon Ball. Am I going to still talk about Super? Definitely just still going to talk about Super. Do I have anything to say about Super right now at this moment? I mean, I have Super-related topics, but as far as the show currently goes, no. So, yeah, until that happens, I'm not going to force a fucking Super review. Sorry, guys. I am going to talk about other things. Like, I've never really wanted to be a Dragon Ball YouTuber in the first place. It just kind of got thrusted upon me because nobody was looking at Super critically. Everyone was praising and jerking off these terrible fucking episodes. Oh man, it was a fight! It was a fight! This is like a fucking great episode! And it's just like, no, it isn't. It's a terrible episode. Shut the fuck up. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're just like, having like nostalgia-gasms because you haven't seen new Dragon Ball episodes in like 18 fucking years. Or I guess for like, 10 years for Americans. But whatever. So, yeah, that's just kind of how, like, that's how I even got started. Because, like, I wanted someone to be the dissenting opinion. But now there are more critical, there are some critical reviewers. Like, so there are people out there who are trashing Super now. There are people who are talking about the good points of Super. And honestly, if you really, really want critical, go watch Mozilla Vulpix. She has a great insight all the time. I will consistently, always fucking recommend Mozilla Vulpix. Gabby is by far the best. She's better than I am at this. She cares way more about it than I do. And I think, like, her reviews are just top tier, the best. You should be watching her instead of me in terms of, if you're just looking for Super reviews. If you're just looking for other topics, or you just want to hear my opinions on various things, I got you covered. I got you covered, guys. But other than that, god damn it. This video is already too fucking long, and I've been rambling a bit. So, yeah. Till next time, Xeon out. See you in the future. See you next time, Space Cowboy. Bang. I don't know. Whatever.